Fabio Bartolotta, an individual with strong family ties to defendants convicted in connection with the Pizza Connection narcotics distribution case of the 1980s. Out of a coffee shop in the Ridgewood section of Queens, who have engaged in numerous armed robberies and other violent crimes.
And it's a shame I'm not the man I used
to be. Hello and welcome back to 52 Topics with Frank Fiordolino. Ridgewood, a True Story. Season 2, Episode 6. You, Your Father, and the Dog. So Frank, on a previous episode, before we move on in this series, we talked about a character that was throughout the first season, a little bit of this season. He is the first character that lost his life in this series that we're doing that was there from the beginning. And we're referencing Kenneth Drankan. We spoke about him with the whole Florida incident with Anthony Tabita and the bomb and all that. Some of his criminal background, he was big into drug dealing. At least that's what the police report. He had a number of arrests for drugs. What you know as well. And then we mentioned about his untimely death, and I said something in one of the episodes to the effect of it's a cold case, it's not solved. But in order to proceed with the series, I think you should tell the full story, because that's not really the full story.
Well, no, it's not. And the reason I was reluctant to talk about Kenny's death, how it went down, the specifics and all that, was because I believe there's people out there still that were involved in that. Okay. I don't believe, I know. Now, I don't know what kind of, I'm not putting any accusations down, but I don't know what their story is, because the story was full blown and everybody knew about it. And so this is about the time that Anthony Tabita and Kenny get close. They get close. I told you they came from Florida. And like I told you in the last episode, he disappeared, or the episode before that, Kenny they found him in a burnt car, which, as we go on, that's going to be a pattern, and we'll talk about that later. But after they came back from Florida, Kenny was known to, let's say, screw drug dealers, okay? He always had a trick up his sleeve. And Anthony was young at the time. I think he was like 18, maybe 19 at best. Was his little protege. You know, they worked together. Anthony was never shy to rap a bat over somebody's head. A matter of fact, he was at the time, I believe, on bail. Anthony was on bail at this time. So put that in, I think, $500,000 bail on a couple of assaults, the last one he had. And I remember well because his father went to somebody to borrow money, the 10%, to get that $500,000 bail, which was like $50,000 at the time. Anyhow, they're together, and this is I was always like kind of reluctant to talk about it, but here it is. I mean, they even ripped off a heroin dealer in the Bronx, and for like $50K. The guy got to find out where Kenny's parents lived, mom actually and sister, went to the house and shot the house down. When Kenny got wind of it, that's what led them to Florida, because the guy went to Florida and he lived in Florida and New York, and that's what they went looking for with the bomb story that we talked about previously. But they come back, and Kenny is back to his old self. The late Joe O'Kane, who was Vito's pal buddy, Vito Guzzo, had sold Kenny a kilo of coke. He sold him the kilo of coke, and Kenny, in true Kenny fashion, goes home, rips it up, cuts it up, gives the kilo to keeps half of the good stuff, cuts up the original package of that kilo, and gives it back to Joe O'Kane. Now, Joe O'Kane ain't fucking stupid, okay? One thing, and not only that, you got to be stupid to fuck Joe O'Kane, because not only is he dangerous, but so's his buddies. You know, he's from that Woodhaven area, Ozone Park, and he's very close with Vito. He finds out, and they're livid, about the kilo. And at that point, they go looking for him. They said, let's go get this motherfucker. Fuck him. And they catch him. They catch him at this bar that was a very popular spot on Grand Avenue in Maspeth, Elmhurst border, named Christy Lee's. They sit on him. They wait for him. And he comes out. When Kenny, this is Kenny coming out of this place. He's by himself. Actually, he's with a girl, but I don't know if he came with her or met her there. I don't know. As he comes out, Vito approaches him and catches him good and stabs him up with an inch of his life. He almost bit the bullet. Lucky for him, the hospital's probably half a mile. The girl he was with grabbed him and took him to the hospital at St. John's on Queens Boulevard. He lives. He's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? These guys, they botched their fucking hit, actually, right? And now they want him. And so Anthony goes in, not Anthony, but Kenny rather goes to Anthony and goes, hey, bro, this is the new deal. We got to get these guys or they're going to get me. All right. So I'm going to pay you $1,000 a week and I'll buy you a car. And you're going to be my fucking personal bodyguard. Kenny tells Anthony to beat her. They're getting real close. Anthony goes, fucking $1,000. I'm a kid and I get a fucking car. He goes, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Fucking, yeah, And he has this, I remember the car. He had this Cadillac, fucking big black one for a little bit. And it goes from there. Okay. This is about the time I told you Vito starts coming with the kid Steve Koenig at Giannini's.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember the name for sure.
That's the first time he comes in that episode we had, Meet Vito Guzzo. And so they're not really close, but they're getting to like each other. Anthony probably more than the other two guys. Like Fabio has a club at this time that Patsy Conti signed off on. And Paul, he likes Paul, but he's got more of a bond with Tabita the Vito does. So Vito still want Kenny. They're looking for him, right? And Vito approaches Paul, knowing that Paul has got like a little bit of a, not a lot, kind of Anthony listens to Paul. He's a little older. He's his guy, Paul and Anthony. That's his guy. So he goes to Paul. And Vito tells him, look, we're looking for this fucking guy, Kenny. And you guys know where he's at. Either you set him up or you're with me or you're against me. This is him and Joe O'Kane, and they say, well, we know he's trouble. Paul was very close with Alex, who busted Kenny's head open anyway in our first season, remember?
Yeah. Black Alex beats him up outside of your brother's Italian
90 place. Yeah. Exactly. So Paul was never really a fan of Kenny. I wouldn't say he hated him. I wouldn't say he liked him. He was a hard person to like because he did a lot of shady shit. I liked him because he was funny. I had no dealings with him, so he was okay with me. Anthony had to make a choice. Now he had to pick his alliances. So he Goes to Paul. He goes, all right, that's fine, but I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill Kenny. You understand? They're not going to do it. I'm going to do it, Anthony says. And they said, you know what? Okay, you do it. So they meet up with Anthony. Anthony meets up with Fabio, Paul's nephew. And he tells him, hey, you want to come with me? I'm going to go fucking take this guy out. He goes, where are you going to do it? We have a friend of mine named Larry, let's say. We'll give him the name Larry. Larry lives in Jamaica. He has a house there, the one we always fuck around in, smoke weed, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, yeah. Fabio goes, sure. We go there and we bring him with us. We tell him we got to make a deal. He trusts me. We bring him there. He has a 380, okay, in the car. We'll put that, when you get there, it's going to be in the house. He goes, when you get in the house, I'm going to get the 380. Tabita goes, and when you get close to him, tie your shoe, distract him. Tabita tells Fabio, tie your shoe. And when you tie your shoe, he goes, I'll fucking put two in them, and we're good. Fabio in Fabio fashion goes, no. He goes, I want to kill him. He goes, you tie your shoe and I shoot him. So they're debating this. He goes, you sure? Fabio goes, yeah. You got to remember, Fabio's maybe 17, 18. They're young guys. You understand?
Yeah, this is it's well, what's the motivation? I mean, from that mindset, because you're in the street, right? What's the motivation of young kid just, all right, I'll set him up, you guys take care of it, to wanting to take the reins, put us into that mindset, him wanting to do it. I'll do it.
Do you understand Fabio's mindset is his whole family's part of that life?
Well,
His
even
mother-
before that, Tabita, because Tabita is the first one that says
Oh, let's
that
do it.
he's
They
going to take
form an
care of it.
alliance with this fucking giant, this Vito Guzzo, who's fucking a little bit older than us, 5, 6
Okay.
years. He's got a lot of connections. And the thought right there is, who's going to fuck with us in this area? Who?
Okay.
We got at least fuck. I mean, at the end of the day, in and out of these Giannini doors with the people we know, we got at least 20 to 30 shooters.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying now? And
Yeah.
if they're not shooters, they're getting bred to be shooters.
Right.
Um,
No, I get it. Yeah, I just want our listeners and everyone to really just understand that mindset and what makes people do things, because of street cloud, or what makes sense. And it's just interesting to me because they are young. You would say 18, 19 years old. It's a wild mindset.
Look, there was 2 things I wanted to do in life when I was growing up, okay? One was be a baseball player. I wasn't good enough, okay? I loved baseball. Everything was about, and the other thing was I had to fall into being a gangster. I liked everything about it. It was prestigious. It was what my family was about. It was about like I could speak for these guys too. Anthony's father did time. Fabio's both grandfathers, mother and father did time. So this is not like one day we decided to do this wannabe shit. It was embedded in us in a lot of ways. You understand? And that's the way that went. So back to the story. Now they go to the house, okay? And when they get to the house, it's as planned. Kenny goes in, Tabita goes in, the other 2 guys, hey, what's up, guys? We're gonna make this deal. I believe it was a coke deal, okay? And they said, yeah, sure. So while they go in there, I think it was a kilo, I'm not sure. So while they go in there, they that's what Tavita does. He pretends he ties his shoe. And Fabio takes about 6 to 7 shots. Hits only one. You know where he was firing from? Hits him one time. Kenny falls. Kenny starts screaming, Anthony, Anthony, fuck, I've been shot. Anthony, Anthony. Bob goes up to him and puts one in his head and puts him away. They grab him, put him in his car, drive it. And don't call me, I believe it was his car. I'm not sure. I believe, it was the car they were in, which was a stolen car, one or the other. Anyhow, they put him in a fucking trunk. And this kind of becomes an MO in a couple of murders after. They commit a statement. They want a statement. That's why they're doing this. They get gasoline, try to get rid of the evidence, but at the same time, when you get burned in a trunk, you obviously they're trying to say this guy did something really bad, and whoever did it is nobody to fuck with. So they ended up burning Kenny, and that was it. That's how the story is. Why I was holding back, I don't know. I want to bring I want to bring the truth out of all this is what's going on. I want everybody to know, not the truth, but the facts. If I have to go PG to rated R, I will. I will. But this is what lays ahead for this show. We're gonna be a little bit more graphic. We'll try to protect the people that have never been involved, not involved but never caught. That's I'll leave that to the police.
Yeah.
They know what's happened. It's not, this is public knowledge. This is on people's PSIs. This is stuff that's documented. This is Kenny's documented. I believe one of them even pled out to this, or if not two. Two guys did. So it's public knowledge.
Yeah. So this was a house in Jamaica, Queens, as you said, which explains the police report at the time, which we did speak about the car being found at Liverpool Street and 107th Ave in Jamaica. Apparently, it was a 1991 Buick. That's the report at the time. So that
it was a Buick. Okay, see, so it wasn't his car. His car was the Mercedes, the AMG.
That's the report. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Okay, I got like 5-6 people working with me on this show, so it's the real deal. It's the real deal. Now what I wanted to put out and I didn't want to put out is two different things. But I could promise you whatever I did put out is definitely public knowledge.
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, I mean that explains the story, everyone. The real story of Kenny. It is graphic. It is, as you said, it's a preview of what's to come on the show because you have a lot to talk about, not only events that your friends took part in, but things that you also took part in, which may be hard, but we're going to get there. Other than that, other than this at the time, Frank, what's going on?
Well, I'll get to. I believe that these episodes come in 6, 7, and 8, and then at season 3, basically are going to be what you people want. The true crime people, the mob people. This is what you want, and this is what you're going to get. We did structure. Season 1 is a little slower than season 2. I'm thinking season 2 is going to be a banger when it's done. But that's where we're at, with that. Now the crew, what happens to these guys? These guys start getting fucking, their bond is now solidified with Vito. Vito is proud of them. They're friends. They start hanging out. They start doing things, robbing, like I said, machines during this time and sell them to vendors for the boards, like the video poker machines. They're robbing cigarette shops. They're not into the car game yet because one of the members, somebody that Vito had grown up with, is not out of jail yet. He gets out. By the time like Tabita goes to jail, Anthony Christopher comes out, and he's a pivotal part of this because I'll explain to you why. We'll get to him. He's going to be part on I'm saying episode 8. Okay, but what happens to this crew? They're above. They think their shit don't fucking. I remember the swagger. It was real. Paul had a little crew of his own, and it was Paul's crew was made up of some of Tabita's friends, like the people in his age group. Paul started doing things with other families, like myself. I was always loyal to my uncle, and later on Vito Grimaldi, which was the Banano crew. So we had a little crew bond, not to this extent. So we were always friends, me and Paul, because we grew up together. But their fucking crew was Anthony Siaka, Ricardo. This is Paul. Fabio obviously swung between his crew and his uncle's crew. Tabita. Am I missing any? I probably am. The kid Riff sometimes would hang out with them, but not on the big stuff. He's involved in an armed robbery, but not on the murder. So lucky for him, he doesn't get right out because he didn't do nothing. The kid Anthony Vaccaro. But back to these crews. These are the crews that are formating. Fabio has Clemenza, Shalara. Shalara has the Middle Village kids that he grew up with. And then there's like the kids that are made today, the kid Joe Corrado, Majota. There was a kid Dennis, a very good car thief. Brian Lindemann, a good kid that got into the stupidity and the Kool-Aid drinking, you know. Vito had O'Kane. He had a couple of his guys too. Teddy the Greek, who I was good friends with at one time. So they had a Cookie later, Durso, who's part of that. So this is all the cliques among the cliques. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, and as always said, when people speak about your friends and you, this is also like guys who are on record with different families, basically.
They are, but you know, they talk about Baldo, okay?
Yeah.
Were they around Baldo? Baldo contracted them, for a better lack of words. His relationship was more with, as later came on with Anthony. He had more of a bond with Anthony Tabita and Vito than he did with Paul. And it was because wasn't that Paul wasn't ballsy or fucking, because Paul beat, like I said before, beat on his own drum. He just wanted to know what his guys were doing. He didn't give a fuck about nobody else. At one time, I'll get to that. Him and Paulo kind of like get oil and vinegar against them, and I'll explain that story too eventually. But it was Anthony. Like when Anthony goes to jail, Vito and Baldo go visit him. You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
So he was his uncle takes a lot of his uncle by marriage, who's Lenny de Maria,
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot. You know, he's doing things by the time he's 21, 22. I think he probably has 3-4 bodies on him. You know, among other fucking shit. He's going to do a bid soon, and so he's one of the guys that they really 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 like.
Right. Right.
Um,
But largely in this series and talking about all these characters, we're really focusing on people with Bonanno, Gambino, and Colombo affiliations for the most part.
yeah, in Colombo.
And Colombo, yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you did. Okay, my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, that's where we're at right there with them. Um, one of the issues, one of the times that during this transition after the Kenny murder and between the next murders, are Paul had a habit of floating on the fucking corner. He would like go to himself, just be on a corner and float, just hang. But by himself, hang on a wall. There's a picture of him by surveillance that he has his hands crossed and he's hanging on the wall. He would do shit like that, you know, just kind of like eccentric shit. So one night he's hanging out in the corner, and there's these kids that we grew up. We always kind of like overpowered them because we had the mob behind us. But these kids, call them Madison Street kids. They hung out in Madison Park in Ridgewood, right there, a couple of blocks from my house. Tough group of kids. Some of them were real fucking, in and out of Rikers, but they had no structure. They were mixed Italians, Puerto Ricans, mostly white, graffiti writers getting into that hip hop transition. So they were confused within themselves a little bit, but they would drink their 40, smoke their weed. Some of them got into heavier drugs. But one of them is passing. I think there's like two that are passing Paul at one time. And there's this kid with the mohawk that used to hang out there. He was just fucking trouble all the time. You seen him, he say something slick out of his mouth. And he maces Paul out of the blue.
Oh shit!
He maces him
For no reason. He just supposed.
No, he's floating. Yeah, he's over there floating. Doing
Okay. Yeah.
And he goes up to him. They must have been drunk, high, fucked this guinea. It wasn't something they wouldn't say. They wouldn't. I mean, they've said before. It wasn't like, and we give it to them back. The difference between us and them were we went to extremes, and they kind of held it back after a while. Ralphie was the mediator between them. Ralphie sold them drugs. He had dealings with them. Ralphie tied up one of them up one time and fucking lit some gas on a fucking, where you play basketball, the pole.
Yeah.
And he said, "Where's my fucking money? Or I'm gonna fucking light you up." And his friends were there. The guy's friends would go, "Yeah, he's getting out of control. He's doing crack, whatever." And they're like, "Well, the next time I'm gonna like this fucking match. You hear me? It was this guy John. He tied up. So, but he had that influence with them. He was kind of like the United Nations, Ralph. He really was. And he had that, but he wasn't there that night. So they maced Paul. I don't know. I was around. Kevin Antonucci was around. Anthony Siaka Ricardo's around. Tabita's around. There's not many of us. We go looking for those two. We catch one, but the other one runs to the fucking his buddies on Madison. So we're giving him a nice beating, a real good beating, matter of fact. And we go back to Gates Avenue, which is 2 blocks away. When we go back to Gates Avenue, I see like fucking 20 of them coming down. I said, "Oh shit, here we go again." And one of them throws a fucking bottle right off the bat. I said, "All right, come on, let's go." And it's this one kid, Robbie Kemp, who's his brother. Me and Richie, we never had a problem. We grew up together. It's tough fucking kid, probably one of the toughest out of them in our age group. And then he had another guy older, that was Joe. He just died, Crazy Joe. God rest his soul. Loved him. He used to watch out for me because I was good with his cousins. His cousins rented for my mother. So he was cool with me, but he was just a crazy fucking dude. In and out of Rikers, state, everything, just nuts. So that was the older ones, and they had the Velat brothers, who they were like 8 of them. Steve, Darren, Brian, good guys too, but I think it was Steve who intermingled more with the Colombo family, in ways. He was an associate of the Colombo family. So Vito knew that. Anyhow, we get in a fight with the younger kids. There's 20 of them. We're fucking brawling. But they didn't get the best of us. I think like the cop cars came. Woo! When they came, they left, the cops, and they were coming back. When they were coming back, Kevin goes underneath, those fire engine. When you call the cops with the fucking
the alarm pole, the
alarm
thingies?
poles. Right under the alarm poles, we had bats, guns, everything. But that day we had a street sweeper, the Max.
Yeah.
So Kevin goes in there. They're fucking moving after the cops leave. They were coming back, and he shoots. Boom, 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 boom. The fucking whole, you could have heard that from 4 fucking blocks away. We're living. What are we going to do? Paul goes, fucking, I'm going to kill these motherfuckers. I'm going to kill one of these motherfuckers. I want them. They have a stolen bike. They have a stolen, this is where they kept the stolen cars, the bikes right in behind Giannini's. And behind Giannini's, there's a stolen bike. Either Anthony or Ricardo came up with the idea, listen, we're going to go ride 3 blocks away, and we're going to fucking drive by them motherfuckers. All they do is drink and smoke weed right on that fucking corner, do drugs, fuck them. We'll take them out. All right, go take them out. And they drive. They get they get in the bike, Rick in the back, Siaka driving, Rick with the gun, Ricardo. So as they go past the corner, Ricardo street sweeps. All leg shots. He hits like 4 of them. There's pamphlets.
Jesus. And what street is this on? What street is this?
This is on Madison Street in Fresh Pond.
Madison and Fresh Pond. Okay.
Yeah. So he hits a kid that I later become friends with. Later on, around in my late 20s, a tough kid named Sammy. Sammy's tough. He looks real Italian. He's an actor now, matter of fact. He's got that look. This kid Rolo gets hit. A girl gets hit in the fucking ankle, okay? And while they turn that corner on Madison, there's that Robbie Kemp, one of the Kemp brothers again. He has a 6-pack of beer on him. Because later I found out how that went on, because me and Sammy became friends. We heard the aftermath, And this kid Hiram, too, who grew up with us, but he always fought between Madison and Gates. A Golden Glove boxer, a real good fighter. I've seen this guy kick ass, and one of the nicest guys too. So as they're going towards Madison, towards Traffic Avenue, that's the other avenue, Robbie has a 6-pack and throws it, hits Siaka, who's driving the motorcycle, right? As he's driving, he loses control, cracks his fucking ribs, and he goes. Unfortunately for Ricardo, they catch Ricardo. And they make him look like the Elephant Man. They just fuck him up. They take the gun too. They could see if that was the other way around, Ricardo would have got killed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They just fucked him up bad, left the fucking bike there, took the gun. And the cops came. The cops arrested him. They nobody told on him. They just arrested him. They didn't tell, you know. And they took him. And we see Siaka coming holding his fucking ribs. I go, what happened to you? They got fucking Ricardo. We passed by, fucking seen ambulances there. We nothing we could do, you know. And they take Ricardo. Where's the fucking gun? We got to get that gun because it links Ricardo to the fucking to the shooting, right? And they go to Vito. Vito, what are we gonna do? We got to get that fucking gun. That kid Steve, you're cool with him? The fucking Valat, whatever his name is. Go talk to him. Anthony goes with Steve. I remember that too. So he goes. He hits him up at a junkyard, either his father's junkyard or one of his relatives. And he gets Steve. He goes, hey, I want that gun. He goes, oh, the gun. He goes, he didn't tell me he didn't know about it. He goes, okay, I see what I could do. And he goes, no, you're going to give me that fucking gun back. He goes, or I shoot you, points at his father, and then the dog. The junkyard dog. And the gun came back. And nothing came out of it. Ricardo's charges were dropped. But this is the sort of thing that was going on through the transit. We didn't get to the bank shit. We didn't get to the fucking the money drops, and you know, people have money, businesses, payrolls. That shit was getting ready to blow up. So that's that. This is they grabbed this. They're starting to do fucking things that merging with Vito. That this is becoming a dangerous crew, a very dangerous crew, and it's like a snowball effect. The more it's rolled down, the bigger it gets, you know, and it's going to get bigger in more ways than one. We're right now about to hit 92. Most of these guys are taking off the streets in 96, so we got 4 years of stories. You understand? So that's it. That's where we are with episode 6.
Yep. These guys are getting into some bad stuff, and unfortunately, more bad to come, which we will get to. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ridgewood.
It's bad. Like that song goes, it's bad, you know?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ridgewood, A True Story, Season 2, Episode 6. You, your father, and the dog. Thank you.
She asked me why. Just went on and told her. She asked me why.